A lot of talk about the art museum, including allegations of systemic land grab in the states, use and of course the use of the Benin Crown Prince. Can you tell us what this is all about?
Well, it is true that I participated in the campaigns for Okpebolo governorship when I rested my own Guba ambition, because I'm from the northern part of the state. I also threw my hat in the ring. But those other factors and persons felt that it was nice and natural for the Edo Central to be given the opportunity to preside over the collective patrimony of Edo State. And in this case, a homeboy, Monday Okpebolo, then a senator, came on stream and brought up the third force element. Nobody expected him, and he cleared the ticket. And the APC was able to rally around him for the election. I was the director of publicity during the campaign. And it wasn't my intention to be appointed as a commissioner, having been a commissioner some 10 years ago. But again, like my boss would say, IBB, anytime you are called upon to serve your people, you have to go, no matter the position, whether as a counselor, as an assistant, as a helper, anything. Because the whole idea is all about service delivery. So in this case, I'm barely a month old in my position as Commissioner for Information and Strategy. I've come into a government that is very handy in terms of having his hands on the job. The governor is a very humble person, very respectful. He doesn't play the politics that are peculiar with some other persons. He's not carried away by the paraphernalia of office. He's very warm towards people. He connects with the ordinary folks out there. He has a rich dose of emotional intelligence. And he has a heart for the people. He's ready to work. He's in a hurry to transform Edo State, take it away from the rot and the decay he inherited, from those who presided over the state for 8 good years. He inherited the state without a handing over note. He's been able to unlock certain aspects of the Edo economy, and he's doing so much in infrastructural renewal, reviving education, reviving those infrastructure, health sector, security, agriculture, under his slogan, the Shine Agenda. The Shine Agenda represents security, health, infrastructure, natural resources, and education, without also losing sight of other critical factors, critical sectors of the Edo economy. Senator Monday Okpebolo, for me, in 365 days, has proven bookmakers wrong. They denigrated him during campaign. They ran all manners of commentary against him. They called him all kinds of names. The one that was dominant was calling him a panel beater. But we were very happy that he was being called a panel beater, because if you know the work of a panel beater, you will agree with me that when a vehicle is badly accidented, you need the services of a panel beater to put it to shape, return that vehicle back to the road to continue its mobility. So what Okpebolo is doing now as a panel beater, quote and unquote, is fixing the Edo accidented vehicle that was badly pummeled by the Obaseki administration. There was too much of conquistadorial mentality, too much of financial malfeasance, too much of draconian policies, too much of altercations, quarrelsomeness, divisions, factionalization of the party that he belonged, quarreling with the monarchy of Oba of Benin, trying to balkanize the kingdom, all because he wants to call himself a conquistador. But conquistadors have terminal dates. And so when the terminal date came, despite all the threats, and idiosyncrasies that pointed in the direction of a dictator, Edo people, in their wisest decision, settled for Monday Okwebolu, a homeboy, different from the cowboys that were being unleashed on the state from Lagos. So today, Edo's money is building Edo. And that's why we came up with this slogan of rebuilding a new Edo. It's a tax that must be done. And that tax resonates with every sane Edo person, boy and girl, man and woman, old and young. Because we want the best for our state. We want to be in the news for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. So the previous government dwelled so much on inanities, bestialities, needless provocations than facing governance. They left the civil service and resorted to using consultants to run the state. At the end, they established 41 agencies run by consultants, including education. They call it the do best. Yet, the schools were rotten, decayed. No chairs, no tables. But for the intervention of Adam Soshomole in his 8 years, in what we call Red Roof Revolution, Edo State schools would have been a sorrier state than we met it. So this is, Okwebolo's slogan is practical governance. You can see it. You don't need to be told, we don't need to tell lies. We have recovered about 68 schools as we speak. Chairs and tables, some are still ongoing. We are building a flyover for the first time in the history of Edo State. Benin City is the only city in Nigeria that is so called, because you can't say Benin. You must put city. Benin City. So, flyover at Ramat Park, flyover at Adesuwa Junction on Sapele Road. And do you know what the PDP critics were talking about? Why are you building a flyover here? You are supposed to go and fix GRA roads. And we said, you barely left government 12 months ago. The roads didn't just get bad today. This is what we inherited. So you see the self-criticism. They think they were trying to criticize them, but they were actually criticizing themselves. Why are you building flyover? That's not what I don't need. I don't need flyover. In those places, traffic jam areas, so that man-hours could be saved for people who want to pursue their legitimate daily responsibilities and interests. So we have so much going for us. The issue of the museum you mentioned, my brother, it is also part of the profligacy of that era and deceit, soaked in pretense and delivered in propaganda. When you say leaders not being able to open up, to own up to their responsibility of living within acceptable standards in terms of transparency and governance, you are going to have scenarios such as you have with Edo Museum. And let me just give you a synopsis of that. The former governor attended the birthday of Oba of Benin on October 20th, 2018, where he promised, in line with his consultations with a Edo Dialogue Group in Netherlands, that they were going to build a museum for the Oba as a befitting birthday present, and they would require 3 years. Between 2018 and 2021, the 3 years window, they started what they call the Legacy Trust Fund, Legacy Restoration Trust. And that they put the Oba's prince, son, as a member of the committee. And from that place, they kept on going. Oba this time had been reaching out to different countries to return the artifacts. So once those artifacts started coming, the idea of that museum now, in the minds of Obaseki, started changing. He would rather have a museum that is standalone where he can benefit from those artifacts because they are coming with money. So what ought to have been given to the Oba ab initio as a consequence of saying, we are sorry for stealing your artifacts and so we are giving this support, was going to the government coffers. At some point, the Edo government, in one of their ESCO, discussed the issue of that museum and the need for Edo to own it exclusively. The bill of quantities and everything that will require to build the museum pavilion that will house all of these bronzes and artworks was presented to ESCO, and the sum of 4.1 billion was arrived at as the total cost for scratch to finish to build it. Edo State government, acting in ESCO under Obaseki, approved that the state government will fund the project. And in different tranches, 800 million, 600 million, 1 billion, they contributed 3.8 billion out of the 4.1 billion. That's about 95% of the funding for the building of that museum came from Edo's taxpayers' money. Now, from that Legacy Restoration Trust, they changed the name to Edo Museum of West African Arts. Of course, Edo should naturally be the nucleus of such engagement. And because the Oba's son was part of the committee, it was understood that they are carrying everybody along. You can't discuss culture and tradition in Benin Kingdom without the kingdom. It will be strange because ab initio, the Oba presides over the culture, the carvings, and all the things you see. They are all insignia of the monarchy, whether you like it or not. And those artworks represent certain theme and thematic preoccupation. When you see an artwork in Benin, you need to call someone to interpret that artwork for you. They don't just happen. They are expressions of the inner feelings of the monarchy, of events, of places, of situations. So, when people talk about museum in Benin, they should understand this particular aspect. Now,
so is it right to say that the Oba owns all these artworks? Would it be right to say that?
There are some there are people who are promoting other artwork and all that. But the ones that are of the monarchy, you will see a difference. You understand? You certainly see a difference. Now, they put 3.8 billion into that project out of 4.1 billion, remaining 300 million. Not so. When Obaseki was about to leave in November, they changed the name from Edo Museum of West African Arts. They remove Edo. They now say Museum of West African Arts. And set up what they call trustees. Put his friend and former staffer at the AFEGBUA, who was in charge of the London office. Philip Nacho is the one who was now made the head. Chioke, MD of AFEGBUA Lagos, became another trustee. And the Obaseki single-handedly chose those persons who will serve in that trustee board. Now converted what they registered with Corporate Affairs Commission as a business venture, now converted into a trustee, half-heartedly guaranteed by public trust. So they reach out to other international bodies because they know those who will naturally like issues of museum and all that. But the Oba was very, very smart and clever. Having been a very seasoned diplomat of cosmopolitan orientation, very, very cerebral, very outspoken, very exposed, he went to President Buhari, may he so rest in peace, and said, please, these artifacts that are coming, let us warehouse them because they belong to us. both my ancestors and me. So the president granted him the possession of those artifacts with the National Museum of Monuments, of Arts and Monuments. They decided to warehouse those things in one location at Ring Road. Now, this project was still ongoing. Aside from the fact that even the location of the museum became an issue because they demolished the central hospital that was built in 1803, that was centrally located. They demolished it, demolished the museum, the mortuary, and took a large expanse of land that is neighboring the Obaseki Cultural Center, which actually is a place of history for the Benins. Obaseki Cultural Center, the location, happens to be the location of that Benin invasion of 1897. Now, if you go there, you see the way they now modernize that place, different from the present location of the Oba Palace. So that place is so dear to the palace, but this MOWA is just right beside it. They took so much land and appropriated everything together, and they gave a CFO bearing Edo Museum of West African Art. They pay 50,000 naira for the CFO, a land that is almost about 12 billion if you are to balkanize it to sell. There is a specialist hospital bordering them. If you go there, you will see all kinds of sewer lines being demolished, and they have opened up now to pollute the environment. And they kept building it. So when we came on board, we set up asset verification exercise. We went there, and we confronted the Philippine Naija and a couple of his persons. Why did you remove Edo from the name MOWA? He said Edo was no longer sellable to their partners. Edo that is the epicenter of modern civilization, epicenter of culture and tradition. So Edo is no longer there. So you just have Museum of West African Arts, Benin City, Haba. I told him, I personally told him, I said, no, Philip, it appears you are getting everything wrong. But by the time we trace their documentation, we saw that even at the CAC, what they have is the Edo Museum of West African Arts, different from what they are claiming. We knew that something was fishy. So the governor now picked interest and said, no, we are going to look deeper into it. And looking deeper into it, we have now seen that that structure housing the museum is actually belonging to Edo state government, Edo people. Edo taxpayers' money was put into it. Whatever they receive from Germany and all these other places is for them to explain. They should explain to Edo people what they did to the money. Or the foreigners should ask them, where is our money? Where is our donation? This is where we are. So a committee has been set up because we are investigating. Adam Soshomole is the chairman of the committee. He has been inaugurated. They are going to visit all of these foreign organizations and embassies and all that to ask them, Koro, eyeball to eyeball, how much you donate? Have you asked them where they spend the money? Because we, Edo State government, built that pavilion. So that's it. Instead of allowing them the large expanse of land, we conscripted them into this thing. So the governor said the CFO for Edo Museum of West African Arts is our CFO. So we revoke it so that we can reallocate that place properly based on the new geographical designs, so that they can also allow some land for other people to grow. There's been too much of a demonstration about these people calling, talking, without even knowing the foundation that I have just given you. So instead of whipping up sentiments, oh, you're going to create jobs, you're going to do this, nobody says it's not going to create jobs. If you are building a house, you must ensure that it is placed on the right footing. That is the only way that house will stand the test of time.
All right, you alluded to the fact that the previous government didn't submit any handover notes to the
Yeah.
present government. So, how did the present governor start off, knew where to start, what Edo owns, what Edo didn't own?
Yes, we've been trying, through individuals or persons who were also part of that government. Some of them volunteer a lot of information. We were able to unlock the e-governance platform, which they locked where they were going. They jammed everything and went away with the code. But the governor is an internet savvy guy. That's the job he does, as an individual before he ventured into politics. So we were able to unlock the codes that they jammed. And we're seeing documents and all that. Then some of the ones they did physical documentation, we were also able to find them on the shelves. So that way we're able to put together. And then the asset verification that we did, a lot of things unraveled. For example, we interrogated over 60-something contractors, road contractors, and discovered that Edo was owing them 187 billion naira. They were just awarding contracts, no payment. Those persons would go and borrow money from bank to commence the process, and the cost of people, commissioner for what do you call it now, roads and bridges. Yet there was no bridge built, and we didn't see the roads neither. So there were quite a number of infractions. We saw some buildings. We will go there to make inquiries. They will tell you, oh, government built it, but they have bought, and we are not seeing the money coming back to government. Edo Best, for example, got 65 million when we interrogated the people who were operating it. Got $65 million from World Bank. 5 million was captured in their books. We could see the withdrawals. They were paying 160 million to the consultant on Edo Best for doing nothing. It was just a conduit to siphon Edo people's money. $60 million of that money, we couldn't trace it. Till today, we're still looking for that money. So Obaseki's era was an era of financial malfeasance, profligacy, wastage of resources for consultants. Look at Stella Obasanjo Hospital that they tried to convert. That they wanted to convert it into general hospital. They appointed a consultant that will oversee the project and paid him 965 million, almost $1 billion naira, for just supervision. Do you know what happened? They paid him 100%. The guy resigned from the job as soon as Obaseki was leaving office. Now we couldn't even find him. We have been looking for him. We couldn't locate him. He just vanished. And yet the project is just 55% completed. No mortuary built, no administrative block built, no cable, no electricity. Now we are being made to pay 7.2 billion naira in the first instance, aside from even carrying out, continuation of the construction. The Edo Education Hub, the same thing. We are owing 73.2 billion naira according to the contractor. They just make all the noise. We built this, we did this, we did that. So it would be right to say that it's actually Senator Mondo Kwebolo that is building the Stella Obasanjo now, that is also going to complete the project of Edo Education Hub, because the previous government literally paid pittance and abandoned the projects midstream. They were looking for money to do election, so they were giving bogus pricing on all of these projects. And that is what we are seeing. The roads are bad. Every people can see it. It's now we are trying to fix a lot of the roads in Benin City and elsewhere. And so it is not easy. I don't envy the governor at all. The responsibilities are much.
So the Stella Obasanjo Hospital now, how soon are Edo people likely to begin to access?
The governor has already given directive for continuation of the job, and it's already paid part of the money we are owing the contractor. So the special advisor to the governor on projects is the one that is monitoring all of that.
In Edo lately, there have been so much talks about cuttings, killings, deaths. What exactly is happening?
Well, that was what we inherited. Again, you wake up in the morning, you hear 5 people have been killed. Intra-court rivalry, inter-court rivalry. You'll just be hearing po and all that. So 6 people killed today, 9 people killed tomorrow, 3, 2. The governor said, what is happening? No, I can't preside over this state and this thing will happen. So he went to the state assembly. They tinker with the law and put in some provisions that if you are caught, you either face 20 years imprisonment, or you face death without option of fine. And if your house is implicated as one of the hideouts to court activities or court-related activities, we'll bring it down. So we've been able to bring down a couple of them. We even brought down the building of members of the Black Arts movement, the Black movement. We brought it out. Some we are going to convert them to police station so that policing can be going on there. And that is what it is. Only recently, the members of the BBC in London came to interview the governor to appreciate him for his intervention, a very strong political will that he has deployed to arrest, the drift with respect to cultism in Edo State. And it's not an easy task, but we're happy that it has yielded results. Nightlife has returned to Benin now. You won't hear anybody shooting and say he's a court member. If we catch you, we bring, no matter the beauty of your house, we take it over, we bring part of it down, and we'll convert it to government use. That's what we are doing, and it's working across the state, not necessarily Benin City.
So the tension arising from
it has dropped, and nightlife has returned. I can assure you can go about people who came for our 365 days, they all move around. Some of our investors, Chinese people and other people, they move around, they went and catch their phone, nightclubs and all that. They came back home peacefully, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., without molestation.
All right, now you talked about 365 days. The governor is 1 year in office now.
Yes.
Looking back, what are some of his achievements in the last 1 year?
Well, I mentioned the issue of flyover that he's building by April to be completed. Another one at Additional Junction, where he has recovered about 68 schools, public schools. Enrollment into public schools now has increased. He's buying chairs and tables into those schools, not just repairing them, but ensuring that the necessary things, marker boards are being introduced. We have road construction across the state. He's building 254 kilometers of road. Within that 254, about 53, 54 thereabouts have been completed. He has built about 60 primary healthcare centers across the state. He's taking that number to 146. He has also bought 60, Healers vans for police and set up what they call strike force, Edo strike force, to combat crime and criminality. He has recruited 2,500 Edo sons and daughters into the Edo Security Corps to help community policing, help police and civil defense and DSS, to mitigate incidences of crimes and criminalities. He has also recruited 5,000 teachers, those that Obaseki placed on casuals. We have fully absorbed into Edo civil service. We have also employed close to about 1,000 civil servants, to cover up the shortfall and the huge gap that Obaseki left behind as a consequence of the use of consultants in those times. So when you talk to an average civil servant, they tell you they have spent 7 years in one position, no promotion and all that. It's now that we are doing all of that, promotion, in-service training and what have you. So there are quite a number of rules that the government is doing. But now that we're entering into dry season, we are going to increase the pace. Edo today is a construction site. Agriculture, we have what they call Udomi farms. Our maize are ready for harvest covering over 600 hectares, and the off-takers are ready to pick all of that. We're also opening our doors to investors for solar farm, agricultural rice production, cement factory building, and some other people are trying to tap into our lithium, which is a very good resource. We have what do you call it now? Asphalt plants coming up. Quite a number of things, coming up. But the road infrastructure is receiving huge attention from the governor. He's not just sitting back. He makes sure he goes around to inspect that, to ensure that everything fits into the measurement, the building measurement that was initially approved. So if you come to Edo, we can take you around without any fear of contradiction. That what we have done in 1 year is more than what Obaseki did in 4 years. And I'm saying this with due sense of responsibility. Because everything they did in their legacy are shrouded in secrecy, contradiction and so many other things. The Edo Radisson Hotel is another issue. They went to the stock market. They collected bond close to 30 billion. By the time they bought a building that was formerly owned by Ritz Hotel, then they reinforced it and continued building from there. The contractor charged 15 billion to build and deliver. After, when it was a time for them to leave government, he increased the rate to 22.5 billion in the name of variation and talking about the volatility of the dollar exchange rate. No problem, we paid. At the end of the day, after we have paid for all of this, spending about 31 billion altogether, they ceded 20% to Edo people, and they carry 80% for Obaseki's friend, who came and registered a company in May 2024. Himself, his wife, and his daughter are the the directors of that new company that acquired, that's having 80% of a Radisson Hotel. So we are still going to go back to that to ask questions. We are going to sit on the round table for them to present their details so that we'll talk about the proper ownership of Edo Radisson Hotel.